Okay, let me recap. I accidentally clicked us off. Okay, so this is part 3 of this story. All right, so I was telling the part about me meeting Martha, and she did her channeled session with me with the being, and the being told me all about Egypt, me going to Egypt, and then when she came out of her trance, she said, "Do you know who you are? Do you know who you are?" And so that's where we were. She told me that I was Isis, and I had just heard that. So anyway, go listen to the last one to get the full details of that part. Okay, so I was telling her about my ring, this ring here, that I've had since I was like 20 or 21, and I bought it in Georgetown. And so then, and I put my little clicker down so I won't accidentally click us off again. Okay, so anyway, so I'm telling her about this ring, and I thought it was a Nefertiti ring. So the whole while I'm thinking this ring was a Nefertiti ring for over a decade that I was wearing this ring, okay? And then one day I was just looking at the ring, and I was like, S-I-S-I-S-I. Oh, Isis. This ring says Isis. This ring doesn't even say Nefertiti. This is an Isis ring. S-I-S-I is across her crown. I don't know if you could see it. I don't know how to do all that stuff. But anyway, so all the while, I'm wearing an Isis ring, thinking I'm wearing a Nefertiti ring for all these years, okay? And so I told her that story, and then she told me certain things, and then she told me, you know, the reason why I was reluctant when you came to the door, and I was like, oh yeah, what was that all about? And she said, I was reluctant to ask you to take off your shoes because I used to be your servant. And I was like, okay. And she said, so she was Isis' servant. And she said, you even look like her. She said, go look at some old figures and stuff of her. She said, your body shape is even like hers. Your face is like hers. You look like her. So, of course, I started going looking at statues and everything of Isis. And I was like, her body build is kind of like mine. It's very interesting from what I see in the pictures, right? And so she said that she was an alien. She said in another lifetime, she was an alien. She was my servant. Oh, okay. So I'm still looking at her like, okay, you know, this is a little strange, you know, I'm just like, but it's making sense. And then, so she says, the reason you know how to do everything you know how to do is because of her. She said, you know magic, you can read people, you know what they're thinking, you know what they're feeling. And she said, she was telling me all these things. And I was like, you know, that's interesting because every time I'd go to like a workshop to learn a different healing modality, like I've been to theta healing, I've been to all the pranic healing levels workshops, I've been to all the theta healing levels and workshops, somatorespiratory integration, I went to all of those to be a teacher. Excuse me. Where else did I go? I learned the chiropractic method taught to wellness practitioners called Flowtrition, and I went to all the levels of that. and I told her, you know, it was interesting because when I would go, I would already know how to do everything they were teaching me. And it was so interesting because, like, I remember one time I was at the SRI, which is somatorespiratory integration with Donnie Epstein. I went to those trainings, and I remember all of us were partnered up or whatever, and it was like 10 in a group, and you were paired in twos in the 10 in each group, and it was like 200 of us, okay, in this big room. And so I remember our group was all finished, but the group next to us, one of the couple that were working on each other were struggling. And I remember saying, would you like me to help? And the person said, yes, please, please, because they were really stuck in the healing. And so I just told the person, I said, okay, put your hand right here, breathe right here, say this, visualize this, whatever, I don't know. And then the person came through that moment, right? And so they were like, oh, so you've done this before? I was like, no. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But really, I really didn't know what I was doing. But I did, whatever I did was the right thing to do, right? But that would happen at every single course I went to. Every course I would go to, even I was at BPI. Now, I was learning a lot at BPI. Not everything was like I did learn a lot at BPI. I learned stuff that I didn't know. No joke. At the Berkeley Psychic Institute, because that was my first exposure to learning about who I am and how this healing work works. And, so I did learn there, but like everything after BPI was like a refresher course to some course that I never took. Okay. And I'm going to continue in the next one because we are at time.